Even though it takes a little bit of prep work, creating a rubric right from Google Classroom and using that to assess and give feedback is a really nice way to streamline the whole grading process and to save you some time. So I'm going to break this video up into 3 parts. The first part is how to actually create the rubric, whether you're using Google Classroom or actually importing from a Google Sheet. The second part is what it looks like for the student. And then the last part will be actually grading with the rubric and what that looks like and how that can save you some time. So I'm creating an assignment here in a historical app design assignment with a Google Drawings. Again, this is everything here you can adjust as needed. We're really focusing down here on this plus rubric button. So when you press that button, you're going to get 3 options, either to create the rubric, so using kind of like the Google Classroom template in a way, or reusing a rubric if you've ever used this feature in Google Classroom before, or importing from Sheets. The idea of importing from a Google Sheet absolutely terrifies you. Have no fear. I actually found 4 really cool templates for you and put them in this Google Drive folder that I'm sharing with you on my Light Bites Google slide. I linked access to this folder so you can see this is all sort of laid out for you. And you can even, once you import from Google Sheets, you can tweak all of this within Google Classroom. So you don't even have to truly fill it out in Google Sheets this way if you don't want to. You absolutely can go to File, make a copy, and tweak what you need. Let me go back here to Google Classroom, and I'm just going to show you what it looks like just to kind of create a rubric from scratch. So to create a rubric from scratch, you have a couple of things you can adjust, ascending, descending for points. So let's just say, I'm doing this real quick just for the sake of this video. Maybe I want, 3, 2, 1. Rocked it. You got it. And this is all language that I know you're going to change based on your grade level and your subject area. You can put in details as needed and just keep going. And again, maybe you want to do 3, 2, 1, or you can change it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. These are completely customizable. Ooh, don't want to do negative. So one thing I do want to point out too is, especially if you're using sort of the same language over and over again, you can okay, there we go. You can come up here to the 3 dots and you can duplicate. So if you're like sort of using the same framework, you're using the same level title even, you can just duplicate that specific section. And then this way you don't feel like you're typing the same thing over and over again, because that can get a little frustrating. If you notice here, these points are automatically adjusting as I set new levels and set new point values. So I'm actually going to discard this. I'm not going to hit save. I'm going to delete it because I want to show you the other way, which I think is really cool, which is using Google Sheets. So again, you can go to File, make a copy, and adjust from Google Sheets. Or if you just like the way the template's set up, you can go to Rubric, import from Sheets, and I'm just going to pick one of the templates that I was just on, and it'll import it. And I can just adjust now. And this is already sort of laid out 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 for me from the template. So I don't have to go through and do that every single time. So you can adjust pretty much everything. It's just you're not necessarily working from the ground up anymore. You're kind of working from this nice starting point. Once you have this all filled in into your liking, you're going to hit the Save button. And it's going to automatically save the rubric to the assignment. Please note that once you actually click Assign, you can't really make any changes to the rubric itself. It's sort of set in stone at that point. But I'm going to assign it and then show you what it looks like from the student perspective. So here I am as a student in the class. I can see that I have this assignment and I can see my rubric right here. If I click on it, I can actually see all the different components of the rubric, which is really nice because students have a tendency to sometimes lose hard copies of rubrics. So the student can go through and see exactly what they need to do, exactly what's required of them. And there's this digital copy of it for them to see. When the student's all done with their work, they're going to hit turn in, and now I'm going to show you how it actually speeds up grading. Although obviously this wouldn't warrant a very good grade since the project was not done at all. I just clicked turn in. So now I, as the teacher, am going to go in and see that I have one assignment turned in and what it actually looks like to grade with rubric. So I'm going to click on my student GG4. I would hopefully see their wonderful project here. And I really like how the rubrics, right off to the right-hand side, I can click down and see exactly what I put as a description for each level and what level this work warrants. So again, probably for this one obviously would be incomplete, but imagine there's a wonderful project there. So you can either click down, or if you know your levels exactly, you can just click from kind of this condensed view of it. You can still make private comments or use your comment bank if needed. And you can see what's kind of nice is it automatically graded it for me. But actually, if you remember when I was creating the assignment, it was set to 100 points, which you can see here. So it's converting my 10 out of 12 into what that would be out of 100 points for me, since I did set the overall point value for the assignment to be 100 points. So something to keep in mind as you're creating the rubric. When you're all set, you hit return. And then one more time, I'm going to show you what it looks like for the student. And here it is from the student perspective. I can see historical information, overall design, presentation of information, how I did with each of those categories. And again, I can click through, and if this were a fully developed rubric, I would see that full description of how I scored advanced, how I scored meeting, and how I scored meeting for overall design and historical information. And then as always, I can edit and adjust if needed, if my teacher allows me to, and then hit resubmit. So just as a little recap, yes, creating the rubric within Google Classroom when you're making an assignment does require a little bit of prep work. Google Sheets or doing that duplicate the criterion can help kind of cut down on that prep work. And you can also reuse a rubric, especially if you use a lot of the same language from rubric to rubric. You can reuse one that you've used in Google Classroom. You see it as a teacher. Students have access to it at all times. And what's really nice is as you're grading, you sort of see it right here over on the right and just click, 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 click. As you're looking through the assignment, the students get the great visual when they're looking at their work that's been returned to them as well. And it does convert your points from however many points your rubric was worth to the point total that you set for the assignment itself. So that is using rubrics in Google Classroom.